only have a limited number that we can ship out right now because it is very, very popular. We're going to go to the phones. Hi, you're on the air with Lisa. And Kevin, what's your name?
Hi, Lisa. It's Renee from California.
Hey, Renee. Chris is over there kind of giving us a look at how to use the ladder there.
I got to tell you something. I have this ladder. It is awesome.
Oh, now what do you use it for, Renee?
Everybody wants this ladder. I live in an apartment with vaulted ceilings. Uh-oh.
Before I move on, I want you to check this out. All right, Professor Dr. John Henrik Clarke. This is not him, but the gentleman we're about to see is him. So hold on. I want you to listen to this.
So, history, the Europeans began to manipulate history when they rose and began to expand into the broader world in the 15th and the 16th century because they had to justify the slave trade and they had to justify the colonial system that followed. And modern racism has its incubation in that period. You cannot enslave a man and say he's a human being, that he has humanity, and that he was one of the forerunners of the world's religion. You cannot enslave an African and say this about him. Because if you say he's a human being, then you're saying he's an extension of you. Then you cannot sell an African Christianity and call him a heathen and acknowledge the African contribution toward the creation of Christianity. So it's a contradiction in acknowledging that the man created Christianity, then come back and say that you are selling him Christianity because he is a heathen. So the European had to literally strip history of the contributions of non-European people to a certain extent. They did this in Asia. Now what Rogers has done in these two books is to go back and set history in some kind of perspectives based on this information. And all of the information did not come from black historians. It came from the best records available from all of them.
Now, speaking of information, Rogers has alleged some very startling things, and we're using that word because I think in the context of having had only white history, anything black is startling, and so I'm saying it in a positive way. That some of his information has said that there were a number of American presidents who actually were black, that there were a number of prominent Americans that history has treated as whites, who by his criterion, or criteria of who was black and white, according to society's definition, were black.
Oh, no, not according to Rogers' definition now. Understand, and this is the irony of it all, and this is the trap. Black people have never written any definitions of race, any definitions of what a people mean, has been. I mean, they have never said that these people with these kind of traits belong here. Because modern racism had its development in the pseudo-scientific development of intellectual Europe after the 15th century. And they began to say that certain kind of people belong to certain kind of race, and they created the concept of race and racism itself. Now, according to the laws that's still on the statute book of the United States and some other parts of the world, one drop of us makes you a whole. Now, this ridiculous law and stipulation and measurement has given black people a lot of white people according to that law. Now, it has given us Beethoven, who was called a dark Moor. Now, he was probably one of the many olive-complected Europeans that you see in the millions throughout Europe. But in the States, in the United States, they say that if you have one drop of blood of a black person, you're a whole black person. Now, by this stupid law, we have a whole lot of white people. There's a whole lot of people that think they're white that belong to us. We might claim all of South America because the Spaniards were mulattoes when they got there, having been mixed with the Moors for nearly 800 years, and they were even before the Moorish conquest. Mediterranean Europe was highly mixed with Africans. Nobody thought anything of it because they were a mixture of power and influence and trade, and they got along fairly well together for hundreds of years before they turned on each other. And I don't say it did the Europeans any harm, because the handsomest people in Europe are the olive-complected people who mix with the Africans.
You're saying, in essence, that there's no such thing as a race.
Oh, I maintain that race is the phoniest issue ever invented by the mind of man. The European invented and developed the concept of race. There's really no such thing as a race, because nature created no races. The whole race is a man-made thing. You know.
Well, how did people get to be French and English?
Well, different climatic conditions and migrations and amalgams of different people, and migrations of people into your country, migrations of people out. All right. Now, this is an ethnic grouping as against what we call race. If you go back and you look at an old dictionary, you won't even find a definition for a race. Race grew out of the pseudo-scientific development of Europe. And this is what Rogers was addressing himself to, and saying that according to your rule, which is ridiculous, a lot of you belong to us.
Well, in another context, if race is arbitrary, then could we say that being called black was a political term?
It's a political term, and a term which indicates our self-awareness at this juncture in history, and I think we really need it. We need to really bathe in blackness for a while, but I wish we'd get the bath over with and go on to something a little more important, because black in itself is not an ethnic term. Black tells you how you look, but it don't tell you who you are. We are essentially an African people. Wherever we live on this earth, we're essentially an African people. And we relate to the millions of African people throughout the world, including the uncounted millions of Africans in Asia. The word Afro-American or African-American would probably be more appropriate and more honest and more in keeping with what we actually are, because all of us are not positively, physically, real jet black. And so the argument now sometimes is between the supernationalists and the mild nationalists and blacker than thou, when blackness is a state of mind, a state of attitude, a state of approach to things that can exist in almost any of us, including from the blonde black person to the jet black. And the jet black can be traitors, and they can be patriarchs, they can be a whole lot of... See, we've been everything in history from saint to buffoons. We are complete people, and we need to start looking at ourselves as a complete people. And I think that once we convinced ourselves that we're black and beautiful, we'll stop saying it and just go ahead and be black and beautiful and release a whole lot of energy for more important things.
All right.
Okay, so getting back to the reason that I'm making this video, for one, it's about growth. For two, we don't get a pass. The people who want to stay in control, the haves, don't want us to know what our inner strengths are. If you had more than another person, and you didn't want that other person to catch up to you, or to have more than you do, or if you don't even want them to be equal to you, then you shut down all possibilities of them getting to where you are. Best way that you do that is you distract them with little shiny things. You distract them with different comforts that you can see that they would rather have, instead of putting in the work to catch up to where you are. And there's other things. I'm not that damn smart, alright? I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm not that damn smart. Some things make sense to me, some things don't. But what I have realized is that if Eden was supposedly found in Africa, If the oldest human remains were found in Africa, if the 6 stages of human evolution was found in Africa and nowhere else, not all 6, and to say that man came from Africa and migrated out of Africa to all these other continents, then that must mean that every one of us come from the same DNA, which would be an African DNA. No matter how much a person evolved, folks who are not as melanated as others needed to do so in order to evolve and to live in the region that they lived in. Alright, now whose fault is it that people forgot where the fuck they came from? It's their fault. That's where folklore come in. You got people that sit around a fire and the wise man tells a story. Other people listen, and from generation to generation, the story is going to be told. Now scientists or researchers put a group of people in a round circle. They told one person to pass on a phrase or a sentence, and it was supposed to go all around that table back to the original person. And for each time they did that test, their original message or sentence was not the same by the time it got back to the original person. Now, with that being said, that throughout the years, throughout life, the story of migrating out of Africa had been changed, had not been told correctly from generation to generation. You take Hitler. Hitler said that the pure race was the Aryan race, which was blonde-haired and blue-eyed, but yet his punk ass was brown-haired and brown-eyed. How in the fuck could everybody else fall victim to his bullshit when it just did not make sense? It's like, well, damn, if you're saying that your pure race is supposed to be blonde-haired and blue-eyed, then what are you? No one questioned that enough to make the history books and to speak out louder than the other things that happened. And I only say that because how many people are keeping that piece of information relevant? You have so many people. It's like, okay, what happened on January 6th? Fucking President Trump had caused what they call an insurrection. Basically, the people stormed the what was it, the state capitol or wherever the fuck. They stormed a federal building, a government building, and they were not melanated people. So they didn't get killed. They didn't get shot. They didn't get slaughtered. And this came from the taunting of one man, but yet still at this point in time, he is not jailed for treason. He is not jailed for trying to stop, the laws from happening. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if you break the law, you're supposed to go to jail. Well, how come he ain't in jail? They say, if you get in the way, if you interfere with the law, from what is it? If you interfere with the law, then you're supposed to go to jail, period. It's like cops saying, if you don't let us do our job, then you're going to go to jail. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, out of everything that we have been taught in life, we are supposed to unlearn that shit. And that's what I'm trying to say. Here we are in 2023, and we've been fed a bunch of bullshit. But people are so comfortable in the bullshit that they don't want to unlearn the shit from anybody. This thing between melanated people and non-melanated people has become such a distraction, such a problem with other people, that we are not fighting to become the people that we need to be. And I've always stood on the words of, I understand that it took a lot of different people to stop slavery. It took a lot of different people to free slaves. It wasn't just a brown on or should I say black versus white thing. It wasn't that. During slavery, we had all kind of people from all kind of different countries over here in the United States. It's like Italians will sit back and be proud of Christopher Columbus. But when are people going to tell the truth that Christopher Columbus was a Spaniard? Now, if I'm wrong, leave it in the comments down below. Correct me. And then leave me facts. Like leave me websites. Leave me book titles to where I can correct myself so I can learn something so that I can grow. If I'm saying anything wrong in this video, correct me. Like I said, I'm not the smartest person, but I had to unlearn some bullshit. I was on the fence about being religious back when I was a teenager because it didn't make sense. No, way before I was a teenager, because it didn't make sense. How can anybody say that your God, your deity, loves you but causes you pain? If something is supposed to love me, then how could it cause me pain? And I never understood that. I never understood that. Because I was a believer that if I wanted to love somebody, I didn't want them to hurt in any kind of way, physically or emotionally. I wanted anybody that I loved to feel good. I wanted to bring something good to them. So something so powerful as in the creator of all things is like sitting up there, pulling our strings like we're fucking puppets, but yet this creator does not want to show its face. It's like anybody is going to get tired of people doubting them. You know what I'm saying? When somebody doubts you for so damn long, or if so many people doubt you for so long, you sit back and you like, fuck it, I'm gonna probably be wrong. Shut your ass up. Sit your ass down, and you gonna see me for me. But this deity that people call God, from the scriptures of that fucking Bible, they sit up here and make this motherfucker so damn holy. Well, we're supposed to have blind faith to say that it exists, even though we can't prove it. You're supposed to have a fucking blind faith on that, right? But then later on in life, you start to learn that the Spirit of God is within you. You are your own God. You are, you know what I'm saying? It's like all these fucking distractions. So who's going to give me the facts? Who's going to give me the truth? Who's going to give me something that's going to help me believe in something way more than what I have now? Because it's kind of like, all right, just check it. Just this morning, I happened to look out my window and I saw the smoke around the vehicle. So I had to ask my fam to check on that. And, you know, they let me know that, you know, that someone had left the vehicle running, and that was just, you know, the smoke coming from the tailpipe. And I was like happy because I'm thinking it would be so fucked up if that vehicle was on fire while we was on the inside, you know. It would be so fucked up if that vehicle had caught on fire, knowing that within the next hour or two, we was going to have to leave the house to go work on another vehicle that broke down yesterday. And I'm like, yo, but the universe is like that. The universe will stack bullshit on top of bullshit and make it heavy for a person. Make a person want to shake their head and give up on things. But I'm like, yo, out of all the things that I can be comfortable with right now in my life, there's things that I have to have in order to live comfortably. I would tell you something very, very personal, but I don't want that to get out in the world and somebody take advantage of it and hurt me and hurt my family. But there was a time in my life where I was so independent that nobody could tell me shit. It's kind of like I walked around people with my nose up in the sky. You know what I'm saying? Like if my shit didn't stink. And when I was asked about that, I tell a person, I am living my life, and there's nothing that you're going to do to help me improve my life. So why should I look or present myself in a way that's going to be comfortable to you? Fuck you. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I don't give a damn what you think about me. I feel high and mighty. I feel that I am above a lot of people that I'm around. And I was proud of that. I was proud of that. You know what I'm saying? Because no matter how much it sounded, that person would not have realized how humble I was and how much I was given to people. All they could see was that I was looking snooty. They don't know nothing about me. They didn't know nothing about me. And they didn't know how much I sacrificed for other people. But yet at the same time, that type of pride would make you stick your chest out, hold your chin up high, and walk honorably. There's not enough of us melanated people that will feel highly of themselves to do such things. I'm sitting up here making all these videos so that at least one person could get the way that I'm thinking about life, could listen to the way that I'm thinking about life. can question why I think about the things that I think about and on the frequency that I'm thinking on it. You know what I'm saying? My vibe is like, it's like, I want folks to feel better than I do, live better than I do, eat better than I do. You know what I'm saying? I want folks to help people more than I do. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, if you can't do it financially, if you can't help somebody financially, you can help them emotionally. You can help people, you know, in a way to where it gets to their soul and their spirit and their conscience. You talk to people. You can sing with people. You can hug with a person. Squeeze them real nice and tight. Make that person feel warm and fuzzy. You know what I'm saying? I know that we shouldn't waste our energy on people who don't give a fuck about us and how we're trying to help them. But we have to make the attempt. It's like parents who raise fucked up kids. It's their job to do that because that kid did not ask to be born. But then there comes a point where a parent should let go. Let go. Fuck that fucked up ass individual kid. That kid is a young person and they have already made up their mind that they're going to be what they're going to be. So fuck them. And that's what makes somebody lucky not to be my kid. When I say somebody lucky, it's like I'm supposed to have one child. Alright? And if that child had been in my life and had been fucked up, I would have let him go. And I would have had no conscience towards putting them in the system. I'm like, you want to act like this? You want to be like this? Well, be around other people that are acting like you. You don't appreciate what the fuck I'm offering? Well, hell. Go be around people who don't want to give you shit at all. And that's something that a lot of parents are not willing to do. When I was watching 300, I loved the whole idea of rooting through your kids. And if they're not healthy and strong enough as babies, pitch their ass over the fucking wall, drop them down a goddamn cliff, kill them, get rid of them. The strong survives for the benefit of our community. Fuck the bullshit, because the world is dangerous. You need soldiers, you need providers, because anybody can come and attack us at any point in time. How are you going to fight a battle when you got a child underneath your leg who is not contributing to defending our community? Fuck that kid. Fuck that kid. Fuck that kid. It's the same way I feel about young adults and adults. Fuck anybody who's not contributing. But see, in order for a community to do that, everybody has to be on the same vibe. And you can only get on that vibe if you grow individually with the way you think and the way that your spirit is towards the same agenda of another person. And then you grow together. But first it starts with the individual. Growth has to start with the individual. Growth has to be inside of the individual. And I like the bullshit. I do. I really do. Like this video right here that I posted 3 days ago. We need mentors and heroes. And I listed some men that talk sort of on the same level as what I'm talking on, but it's the point that when they talk on a level of where they're planting a positive seed into the mind of the listener. And when I talk about having block parties, I'm talking about, man, why can't the people in your neighborhood unite and help each other out? Why can't our kids play outside like we used to when we were younger? You know what I'm saying? When we were segregated, we played outside all the time. All we had to do was watch out for the racists. Folks, you know what I'm saying, when we start seeing them driving up and down the street or creeping around, you know what I'm saying, we go and we warn everybody else that we got some racists creeping around. So everybody can be prepared for the bullshit. But in the 70s and the 80s, man, it's like I lived in some apartments where I think it was about like 12 or 15 kids, and we were all around the same age group. And our elementary school was like 5 minutes away from us, so we could walk to it. Our middle school was maybe 20 minutes away, so we could walk to it as well. You know what I'm saying? But we all played together. When we were going through our puberty, we was all trying to fuck with, the guys was trying to, get the attention of the same females. You know what I'm saying? And the females was trying to get the attention of the same kids, same boys. You know what I mean? It was pretty close. Pretty equal to the number of guys to the number of girls. Pretty equal. I think it was more guys than it was girls, but it was pretty equal. And, we did get out there and try to stunt, try to perform, try to, to show our bravado, whatever that fucking word is. You know what I'm saying? So that way the girls would be like, ooh. You know what I'm saying? Ah. Ooh. Ah. We used to play hide and seek together, you know what I'm saying? It was a lot of shit that we could do that kids nowadays can't do because we as a people aren't coming together. Man, I make these videos and I get passionate and I get long-winded. And all I can say is that I don't think YouTube is going to allow people like myself who want to talk on a level of positivity. I don't think they're going to allow people like us, people like me, to spread our wings, to spread our message. It's nothing that YouTube or Google can gain from people who stop watching ignorant shit. There's so much ignorant shit on YouTube. And if we as a people stop watching that ignorant shit, then their ads won't get seen. You know what I'm saying?